When you get your dust cover protector, you're basically going to get a sheet like this. And what we need from you when you make your order is you take a good measurement of the top. Give us the true dimensions and we'll make it just a titch smaller so it just barely fits and doesn't wrap around any of the edges. When you get your film, it's going to come on a backing like this. Now it has a protective coating on top of it, which is going to keep it from having any flaws from shipping or anything like that. And you have to remove that prior to installation. There's a couple ways you can do it. Most of the time, if you just flick at it around the edge, you can get it to start to separate. It's almost held on there just like with static clean. Once you get it free, this is the top coat. It's kind of hazy looking, and then there's this smooth, clear film behind. Okay, now we're going to the next step. It's always best to remove the top off of your turntable to do this because we are going to use some water, and you want to put some water on it, soapy water. You can put some in like an old Windex bottle, a spray bottle, whatever you've got, just any kind of spray bottle. And you want to just rub it down with your hand. The reason why you want to rub it with your hand is to make sure there's nothing left on there. To make sure there's nothing that's stuck to it that you missed even though you thought you got it clean before. And then after you get it prepped and it's clean, you want to use a nice dust-free towel. These are some higher quality paper towels, but a microfiber cloth, anything like that, it's a good way to go. So you go ahead and wipe it down once like that, spray it down again, and you're going to need a couple things. You're going to use your squeegee. Now you can use any kind of squeegee you might have around the house since this is pretty much a flat surface. Any kind of just black, flat rubber squeegee is going to be fine. Anything that you can get a nice, smooth, consistent workings on. So you just basically squeegee off the excess water to make sure if there was any dust left behind that you take it off with the squeegee. And then what you have is you have your protective film here, and what you can do is just start in the corner, and you want to get it a little bit wet there to make sure it doesn't stick to itself, and pull the film off. And then you have your sheet there. Now you want to get it wet on the adhesive side, so I placed it there with the adhesive side facing up so it's not sticky on the bottom here. So you can get it sprayed down there, and then you basically just flip it over and center it. Make sure it's just right on those edges, should fit nicely. And then spray the top down. So when I flipped it over, I put the adhesive side down, and it has water in between the film and the plastic top, and that's going to make it so it's easy to get these air bubbles that you see here out. If you stick it and it doesn't have enough water behind it, these are going to be trapped, and it'll be hard to get the moisture out from behind it. But the best technique to use is just to go from the center to the edge, like so, and just work your way out in quarters. It's a really easy install. Almost all of these tops are essentially flat. If it's curved, if it's very curved, it'll require a little more effort to get it to go on. But it's really quite simple. You can see all the water that's coming off of it. That's why you want to do this off of the turntable. And that is almost all that you have to do. Now, if there's any edges where it's not quite laying down around the edge, like if the turntable's curved a little on the edge, there's two ways you can handle it. One would be just wait and let it dry, and once that moisture evaporates from underneath the edge, you can just push it around the edge with your finger and it'll stick because it has enough tack after it's dry to where it'll wrap if it's actually a little bit too big. That's why when we get a measurement, we try to make it about 1/8 of an inch short around the edge. After we get your exact measurement from you, we'll reduce that in size just ever so slightly, just to ensure it doesn't overlap. But if it does, you can wrap it like that after it dries, And if for some reason it goes over the edge too much and you're not happy with it, if you can take a razor knife, make sure it's a really good sharp razor knife, something similar to one of these, and then you can just cut it along the edge. But I would wait and try it first the other way. Make sure it's good and dry. See if you can't get it to wrap, because once it wraps, it'll be just fine. And this has had time to dry. I referred to how it might be overhanging on an edge if the edge wraps more than we may have guessed when we made the pattern. But in the end, it's dry now. So I don't know if you can see this in the video, but right here along this edge, the film comes out and it wraps, and the film's a little bit long. But now that we've let it dry and all the moisture's out of there, if you just run your finger down that edge, it'll stick. And so now there is no edge there to catch. So if you just wait a couple hours, you can stick it right there and it'll look great. You won't have to do any trimming. And then the other thing, this little Marantz logo here, it's recessed. And I don't know if you can see this in the video there, but there's still some moisture in there. The best way to handle that is just to leave it alone. Just wait till tomorrow. Wait until that's good and dry. And then take your finger, and all that moisture will be gone, and it'll leave an air pocket. So you'll have two options. One is you can just push your finger down around the edges and get it to stick down. But you might need to take like your razor knife or a razor or something to prick it and put a small hole inside and let that air escape. You can do that, or the other thing is just take your razor and just do a nice little quick trim around there and pull that piece off. But other than that, she's good to go. It looks like $1,000,000 compared to the way it looked prior to our installation on it. So